Good day, everybody. Today, what we're going to be going over is the process of creating a track condition light, caution light, for any given track for use in the NASCAR Racing 2003 simulation, primarily. We have our object created here and mapped with a texture right up in here, and go through a little bit as far as how that texture is made. Here I've got these in separate layers by the different aspects of that object. All of our different states for the different yellow light states and what have you are all going to refer to this texture, this one texture, and that's what we're going to go over in this video. So getting right into it, we have our first state here, which we have our unwrap UVW mapping modifier in, and we've got all of our faces applied to this texture, such a fashion. Now what we want to be able to do is save and essentially in this particular model it's going to have 4 separate pass files to accommodate the different states of this light. So that's what we're going to do right now. Let's change these 2 faces. Well, first what we're going to do is save this this object in this state as its own pass file, and then for this one I just named it Wayland C Light Pass, which would be an empty light, and I've referred to that the script that I've got constructed here. That's going to be our lights min with no lights, Wayland C Light Pass. Okay, that'll be our one state. Now what we're going to do is we're going to change the faces of these LED lights for our next state. We'll go into our edit UVW modifier in here a little bit, and obviously the way your texture is constructed is going to be critical as far as you do not want to modify the size of this once you get it mapped in the one level, because you don't want any distortion between the different states, especially your yellow lights, because you'll be able to see that in your model, obviously. So you want to maintain the size of these faces here through all these different faces. So using a snap toggle, in this case I'm using it to vertically move this without moving the changing the orientation of those faces to move it to the next area of that texture. So with that, you'll be able to see that change in our scene for our green light status. So we'll export that out as another. We'll export that out as another separate pass file. In this case, I've done it as Wayland underscore C Light underscore green. You can name these however you like. Just make sure it's in a separate pass file, and then refer to that in our script for green light variable container Wayland C Light green pass. So we got that sign there. Now we'll do our first yellow light state. Select our faces here again, and we'll vertically snap this into the next area. Changing our scene, so that'll be. Now also what I've done in this particular model is there's a light underneath here to which I can apply. I can apply that to change as well, and I've got that defined up here, so I can go like these faces. So as if I choose to, I can move these from either on or off accordingly, and I've got those mapped, obviously, as you can see, between the bottom cap and the sides. so I can move those accordingly. So in this particular state of the yellow, I'll leave that off. For this first state, the second state, I'll go ahead and change that. Okay, so for this one, this is satisfactory, so I'll save this as a separate pass file. As in this case, I've done it Wayland underscore C-Light underscore yellow 1 pass, and I've defined that in our script, yellow flash 1, yellow C-Light right there. So we'll move on to our second yellow state. And you can play around with your, depending on the model that you come up with, you can have more than this. This is just the way I've designed this particular model. So for our second state, I'm going to select these here and move this up. This one, which will change it. And I'll have to make some adjustments to my texture. See, it doesn't quite line up right, and I can do that through these separate layers that I've got defined here. And it's easier to do the texture adjustments than it is to the model, especially when you're in this state of mapping. So for purposes of this video, I'll just leave that as I know I take a note of whatever that texture will need to be adjusted. But moving that up to this here. Now in this state, what I'll do is also change how this light on the bottom appears. So we'll have this one on. Select those faces as well, and we'll slide this one. If I've done this correctly, I should be able to slide this over to here. Obviously I do have a little bit of adjustment on the bottom. That's okay. I can go like this, slide that over to that, and I'll have to make some adjustment into that. But that light will be on during this state. So during the first yellow state, that'll be off. Second state, that'll be on. So they will have alternate. And you can do that however you want. If you want to create a separate state as like a third state for just that light itself, as far as when it shows, you can do that as well. There's a little bit of freedom in there. Again, this is just how I've designed this particular light. Okay, I'm going to save that, and then once you've got it to where you want it, as far as what state, how that state you want that state presented, save that as a separate pass file. It's done here of Wayland C-Light yellow 2, and I've defined that in my script for yellow flash 2 as our variable container, and Wayland C-Light yellow 2 pass. So we have our lights off for like testing, our green light for practice, qual, and race, and then we have our first yellow state and our second yellow state all defined. So with that, we're moving down to when these different states show. Your first state or whatever, obviously you want to have it for testing, which is 0. And this is under the state switch variable, caution light, caution underscore light. 0 is going to be for testing. So we want our lights min, which is basically our fixture with no light on. For our practice, qual, and race, we got our green light, which is state 1. And state 2 is going to be our first stage of yellow, which is yellow flash 1, as we defined up here. And the way I've got these spread out gives a pretty decent representation of how fast the light shows, as far as when it just basically how it flashes, how quick it flashes. You can change and play with these different frames as far as what shows and when to make it either slow or really fast. If you want to have it really stroby, do that. Just keep in mind that for the caution light state variable switch, it has to end in 74. There's 74 frames in that. You can go less, but depending on how many different states that you have, it may not be look very well. But that's something you can play with. This is again how I've designed this light in particular. Once that's all defined, you want to output your singular model. In this case, it's just Wayland_C light, which will refer to that singular texture for all these different states assigned in here. So with all that being done and your pass files exported, you'll want to take those and copy those into your location of your Make 3DO. I have those all applied here as far as the texture, the individual pass files, and our script. And then what you want to do is bring up a command prompt and point to that location. And then from that point you want to type in Make 3DO, which is the utility itself, the application itself, -S, because you want to refer to your script, and then your script itself. In this case, is Wayland_C light.psg. And this particular model, we do not have any other parameters as far as reflection, as far as a -E or anything like that. So with that, we'll just go ahead and press enter. And if you've constructed your script correctly and pointed to it properly, it'll spit your model out. At which point, if you have 3D SimEd, you can open that up and you can see here's our constructed model. Here's the constructed model. And if you don't have 3D SimEd, you can just go ahead, make your MIP file for your texture, and take that model, put it into your track, and from there you can just enter. There is no additional properties that you need to assign to this. In fact, what I could do, and will do, is go to a track that we have this applied. We use one of our more recent builds for Sim Racing Association, and we've applied. Go ahead and open this up, and there's a way you can test once your objects are applied to the track. You can test these to make sure that they're working properly. You can go into your adjust menu in your sandbox once the track is open, set state variable, and set it to caution light, the same state switch as you would put in your script. I apologize for that. I had one of my hotkeys set up incorrectly. But what you want to do is set up your caution light. I'll show that again real quick. Able to see that. Put in the caution light parameter in the state variable and set it to 2 as far as the value. And what that'll do is anything that has a caution light switch in your track, to include these particular lights, will show states. In this case, it shows the yellow light. You can get an idea of how that will appear. And this is the first state, so obviously the way I had done this one here, I did it on the first state. It has that bottom yellow light on. And like I said, you can change those you see fit. If you don't want that to show during that state, you can do that. I can change. Let me try changing the switch to 1. That should be the green light. Do this. There's our green light. That's under the state 1. That'll be for practice, qual, and race. I'll show that particular state. So that's just a way of being able to check your object in there to see how that was. And if you need to make adjustments in there, you can go back into your model and your max and make the appropriate adjustments and re-export your pass files accordingly. I hope this tutorial on creating a track condition light for your track in NASCAR Racing 2003 was helpful, and I thank you for watching.